On the inaugural edition of 1861, the North Central College podcast, we're talking with Olivia Rosenberg, a member of the class of 2025. This podcast is the latest way you can discover some of the exceptional stories that uniquely define and characterize North Central College and the wider North Central Cardinal community. We hope you will continue to join us on this journey. Let's see where it goes. A North Central education, of course, is about exploring multiple perspectives, asking questions, and engaging in dialogue. So that's what we're going to do, engage in dialogue. With that, we say hello to Olivia Rosenberg, class of 2025. Hello, Olivia.
Hi, Jim.
You are the first guest on 1861, the North Central College podcast. How does that make you feel?
I'm just so excited. I think having a podcast for North Central is just so fitting for the type of college we are, because we just love to talk about our experiences and what we do here. So I'm honored to be the first guest, because I also just love talking about this awesome school.
I'm very excited to have the opportunity to be in conversation with you on the podcast. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself? Where are you from? What was your major here? Just talk a little bit about your experience.
So I'm from Elmhurst, Illinois. I'm actually a transfer student at North Central College. So I transferred here during my sophomore year from a large state school, and I came in as a communications major, picked up a second major in sociology, and I'll be graduating in just almost less than a week with those two degrees. And I've just had the best time being a transfer student. It really was such a great choice that I made to come here, and I love everything about both of my degrees and everything I've learned.
So certainly there's a choice. You had a choice. Tell us more about what went into that decision-making process to transfer to North Central.
Yeah, when I originally decided where I was going to go to school when I was just a senior in high school, I didn't give it much thought. My parents really tried to encourage me to apply to every type of school that we could think of to really explore different options. But being the stubborn 17-year-old I thought I was set on a specific option. And when I started school, I realized that I really wanted more of a personal experience. So after my freshman year, I knew I needed to make a change. And I had a friend from high school went to North Central, and he had just such a wonderful time. So I thought, that seems like it might be a place where I could find home. And so I took a tour in, I think it was April of 2022, loved the campus. As soon as I started within my first week of classes, I knew my relationships with the faculty already were miles beyond the ones that I had at my previous institution. And I immediately just felt welcomed and felt like the choice was finally right, because I finally thought through my choice instead of just following what everybody else did. But it really, every day that I'm here, reaffirms the choice that I made. And it's just been such a fun ride. And looking back to that, April 2022 was the turning point for me of when I decided to come here, and it just changed everything.
Well, selfishly, we're glad that you're here.
Selfishly, I'm glad
too. So your academic majors, why did you choose those majors, your course of study, and how has that played out for you?
Well, communications was easy. Seeing as I'm on a podcast, I like to talk a lot. Growing up, I was labeled the chatterbox in school, so I knew I wanted to do something where I could talk to people and connect with people. Service is really important to me, working for people, making people's lives better, making sure people feel represented. That's the core of who I am. So communications really encapsulated that for me, especially because how unique the degree is in terms of you can customize it to be anything you want. You can do anything with a communications degree because you have those important soft skills on how to interact with people, how to work together. And so I knew that was just going to be a perfect fit for me to be able to explore so many different career options and even just take a wide range of classes. And my sociology degree really just came out of personal interest. I took a sociology class my first semester here just to fill a general education requirement. And I had such a great experience with the faculty in sociology, and I knew the department was just so welcoming, and it just seemed like so much fun. So I went to my advisor and asked, what does it look like for me to add on a second major in sociology? And when we went through all the schedule planning and whatnot and saw that it would work, I was just so excited to join the department. And it really has just been fun, is how I can describe being in the sociology department. Everyone is friends, everyone gets to chat in classes, and it's just been a personal interest that now I realize sociology is everywhere. It's everything that we do. It's learning about people and how we interact with each other. So there was also a connection between communications and sociology in that way. So it's really just been a highlight to be able to find my own little corner of the academia world, and where my two degrees cross over.
Can you talk about the influence of a faculty member on your time here?
Yeah, I mean, talking about sociology, Professor Blaisdell, she was one of the first professors to really make me feel like sociology had a place for me here. She invites students to come to her office, no matter what class you have with her, even if you're not her student, to just talk and just talk about what you want the future to look like. And through talking with her, I really could understand how sociology would fit into my future, because I knew not like necessarily a lot of people choose to go into social work or more concrete sociology fields. And I knew that necessarily wasn't in the cards for me. So she really encouraged me to still pursue the discipline and to see how useful it was across all fields. And she is just such an advocate for students. We just had our last class period with her, and she wanted us to all reflect on when we started school as kindergarteners and how we would sit on the carpet and our teacher would read us a book. So we all sat in a circle and she read us All the Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss. We were all tearing up and whatever. It was just the perfect way to conclude my undergraduate experience, was just her reading a book about Oh, the Places You'll Go. And it just shows how insightful she is about teaching and connecting with students.
Is that unique? Was that a unique experience, or did you find that to be common here?
I want to say it's unique because she's such a unique professor, but it's not unique to her connection with students. I found that with so many different faculty members that I've connected with. I mean, almost every single one, especially even in the communications department. I have such a close relationship with Dr. Buxbaum and Dr. Birkeland. They do the same thing. It's just welcoming is the word that I can describe it. Office doors are always open. Office hours are always available to meet. Emails go back and forth of just random questions that never seem like a bother to answer. Everyone is just so excited to connect with students and be resources and encourage more learning. Like when I go to them and ask them a question about class material, it's not a burden for them to answer. It's an excitement to have to answer a question that a student has. And they're always just jumping up and down to be able to help continue research and academia and learning. So it's not unique to just one faculty member. I've seen it across the board.
What have you done away from the classroom?
A lot. I've been busy. I really wanted to do something that encapsulated my experience here academically. So I went to my communication professors and asked if I could do a voluntary thesis, which at first they thought I was crazy. They were like, why would you want to sign yourself up for more work? But they were so excited that I was excited to learn beyond the class. So I coordinated with them and they immediately said yes. And I worked with them over the past almost year and a half to put together my thesis and conduct research. And they were there every step of the way, offering expertise, offering just reviewing papers and sources and whatnot, stuff that they didn't necessarily have to do. They didn't have to do all that work for me, but they wanted to. And I'm so appreciative of what they did. And it ended up being probably one of the most fulfilling parts of my undergraduate experience here. And now I can have something tangible to show people when they've asked me what I've learned. So, yeah.
So tell us about your thesis.
Yeah. Okay. I will. It's gonna be a little bit nerdy.
Look at the excitement. Look at the excitement there. That's wonderful.
So it actually spanned from my communication capstone class that I took, communication theory, and we had to analyze a topic of our own choosing using communication theory. And so I had a problem in my own personal life of over apologizing to people, to the point where I was having people in my personal life telling me to stop apologizing so much. So it was something that was already on my mind. So I decided I wanted to study it for this class. And specifically, I studied how apologies disproportionately affect women and why women over apologize. So I wrote this literature review for it, and I knew that there was still more work that could be done in the topic. So that's when I went to them, and we ended up narrowing the topic to looking at executive women in the workplace. I myself, once I graduate, want to enter the workforce, so I knew that it would also be relevant to me to learn how women navigate becoming executive level positions and how they have succeeded so much in the workplace. So I conducted focus groups and interviews with all executive level women in corporate America from a wide range of industries. And I just got to speak with them and talk about their experiences at work. And it ended up becoming such an amazing experience to be able to connect with those people and build my network in that way. And it ended up turning into really great research of really discovering why women apologize and how women are becoming more empowered at work and how women are shifting the field to become less of a minority group of leaders and more of a majority.
So what did you do with the research?
I wrote a 20-page paper. So I wrote a paper, and then I was able to present it, which was such an amazing experience. I first presented it at the National Conference of Undergraduate Research. It was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So I traveled with, I think there were 8 of us, 8 students. We bused to Pittsburgh, and the conference itself was a blast, but we really just had such a great time representing North Central. We connected with so many other students from other institutions across the country, and it was so fulfilling to see my peers present their research as well, to see what work was being done here at the college that I might not have otherwise been able to connect with them about because we were in different departments. And then I presented my research, which was so amazing. I had so many women that had been in the workforce for a long time come up to me, connecting with me about my topic, which was just the most gratifying experience, was being able to talk to real people about how my work impacts them and their perceptions of their work. And then I presented it here at North Central at the Rahl Symposium of Undergraduate Research, which it was nice to be able to present it at home. My family was there, faculty from North Central were there, even folks from OIC were there as well to watch and support. So that was just an amazing experience. And now the paper is officially done and will be submitted to publishers pretty soon.
Well, you'll have to keep us apprised of how that goes. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
So you mentioned OIC. Full
Yeah.
disclosure, OIC is the Office of Institutional Communication. You spent a little bit of time with that team.
Yeah. I love
Tell
OIC.
us more about what you did.
Yes.
Tell us what you did with institutional communication.
Yeah. So when I transferred here as my first year, at the end of the school year, I actually got an email from Kim McGregor, and she reached out to me that there was a student worker position open in the department. And I knew immediately that it would be a perfect fit for what I wanted to do. Reading the job description, I was like, oh, I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to do that. So I met with Kim. We had great conversation. And that May, I started in the office. And basically what I do a whole range of things for the department. I help manage the class notes submissions for the alumni magazine, which is so much fun to see what alumni are doing, especially as I'm soon to be an alumni, to see the amount of success that people find and just the amazing personal stories. And also to see that people come back and want to share their stories with the college, that they are excited to submit their updates with us and want to share it with the rest of the Cardinal community. I also have been writing student profiles, which is also so much fun. I've written profiles on friends, on students I wouldn't have run into on campus otherwise, that now whenever I see, I can wave to and say hello because I know something about them and I know their stories. I I've done work writing pieces on different student orgs, different events on campus, like Tay Talks that happened earlier this year. So it's just been so much fun to be able to contribute stories to the college and be able to help build the storytelling that the college provides. Because I think we already do such a great job of uplifting students and making sure that everyone can cheer each other on for our wins and whatnot. So, yeah.
Now, that's not the only professional experience you had the opportunity to gain while you were a student here. Tell us about internship, other professional experience.
Yeah, so I had a public relations internship this past summer in Chicago, which was so much fun. It's so great to be hands-on in an office space, especially after learning about that industry in the classroom, to then be able to apply what I learned here to an actual position was really cool to see the things that I read in my textbooks and actually have to do them. And we already had experiences in the classroom here where we were doing mock press releases and whatnot. So I already felt like I had that tool belt secured when I started my internship. So I felt really prepared, which was really a great feeling, especially entering a new environment. But I learned a lot through that internship. That was a super, super awesome time, especially to be able to work in Chicago was really cool. And on campus, I also worked as the student worker for the Department of Communication and Media Studies. I created marketing materials for them, surveys about student data and student demographics, as well as creating information on like Meet the Faculty and just helping building the repertoire of materials for the department.
Wonderful. You've had a very busy undergraduate experience.
I have, but I like it that I like to be busy. Yeah.
So I promised that I won't ask you to sing, but you've been involved in some music on
I
campus.
have.
Tell us about that.
I have. When I joined my sophomore year of college, I auditioned for Sonata Problem a cappella, and it has just been such a fun ride. That's how I can describe it. When I started with the group, we had competed at the International Collegiate Competition. It's kind of a tongue twister. International Competition of Collegiate a cappella. A couple of
It's a
times.
mouthful.
It is a mouthful. We call it ICCA. So we had competed at ICCA a couple of times before I had joined the group, and it had always been so much fun. And the group was just a passion project for a lot of the members. And when I joined, me and the new members could kind of sense that there was something here. There was something about the connection of this group that was special compared to the other groups that we saw from other institutions. Because we all had this deep passion for it, just on an extracurricular level, our sense of fun and spontaneity and just sense of wanting to just be friends with each other and find just joy in singing, we had this spark that I think really we could see that it would ignite really easily once we put in the work. So my junior year, that was like our training year, I'd call it. We rehearsed 2 days a week, every week, sometimes adding in more rehearsals. We competed that year at ICCA. We didn't finish. We weren't finalists, which we just were happy to be there and perform and meet other groups and whatnot. But after we had performed that time, we knew that if we just worked a little bit harder, we could find our success. So this year, we started working on our ICCA set. It's a 10-minute set, 3 songs, complete choreography. We started working on that as soon as the year started. We recruited 10 new members, I think, this year. So it's the largest the group had been since I joined. So we had 18 members. We competed in ICCA in February, and for the first time in the college's history and for Sonata's history, we placed 3rd and were considered finalists for the ICCA. And that, when they said our names, we were all just bursting into tears. We were shocked just to hear, like, they started it with North Central College's Sonata Problem. And as soon as we heard North Central College, it just erupted. It was one
Wonderful.
of my favorite moments just ever. And we were just so proud of ourselves. We felt like underdogs in that moment because we had worked so hard. And there were other schools with groups of like 20 kids and schools that were so much bigger than ours that we felt like we were small fish in a big pond when we first started. But because of the work that we put in, we made ourselves known and we made everyone see how much we loved singing and we loved performing. So it was the best. Yeah.
You came full circle. It's wonderful.
It did. It was such a great moment to be, for my last time at ICCA, to be making history. We really never thought that would be possible, but we did it.
So you've talked about the classroom experience. You've talked about the things you did away from the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is this chapter's coming to a close.
Yeah.
I know. So what's next, Olivia?
So next, I will be working at a digital programmatic advertising agency called The Trade Desk. I'll be working in account management. I'll be working in Chicago, which I'm so excited about. I'll still be coming back to North Central's campus all the time. My best friends are still going to be here. I still have so many relationships here that I care about. So I won't be going away. You can't get rid of me that easily.
Good.
But I'm excited for the next chapter. I feel like my time here at North Central has perfectly propelled me to start this next journey. It's time. It's sad, but it's time to go. But I feel ready to go.
So what's the one advantage that you think you have going into the workplace?
I think being able to build relationships with people. I think from knowing that people want to help and people want to foster those relationships professionally, and knowing that the relationships I've built with faculty here, that those people are always going to be advocates for me, they'll always be in my corner, has encouraged me to look for those other people in my life going forward and looking for those advocates. Building relationships has been so central to my experience here, and it'll be so central to my experience going forward. And I think just saying yes to just anything, just putting yourself out there and saying yes. I almost didn't audition for Sonata Problem. I almost was too afraid to start singing again, but I just said yes, and it turned into something so amazing. When Kim reached out to me to work in OIC, I just said yes, and it turned into such a beautiful thing. Like, just when those opportunities come, take advantage of it and then use them to the fullest. Like, just experience everything that you can.
So that's wonderful advice for somebody who's in college.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give to somebody who is at the point of trying to make a decision where they're going to go to school?
Yeah. Well, being somebody that made the wrong decision at first, I can do a lot of self-reflection as to why I got to that place. And I think I just wanted to follow the crowd and make choices that other people were making instead of looking at what I needed as a student. I think knowing that you work best in a small classroom or a big classroom, or knowing what type of college culture you want to be a part of, is so important to figuring out where you want to go. And I think listening to yourself and listening to the people that know you best, and listening, and just don't shut off any idea that people give you. My parents begged me to apply to small liberal arts schools, and I said, no. Well, here I am having the best experience at one. And if I listened to them at the beginning, I would have gotten one more year here, which I so wish that I would have had, as now I'm coming to an end. But just listen to yourself and trust your instincts, and don't think about what other people are doing, because that's what's best for them, not for you.
So this is a time of reflection. Can you recall your first memory of your time at North Central?
Yes, it was moving into Rawl, the freshman girls' dorm, and meeting my roommate for the first time. And I think as soon as we finished unpacking and got dropped off, we just started going to all the events on campus. And I immediately felt like it was right. Going to the opening. I think there was the red and white night at Murner's. I can remember really vividly of sitting in the bleachers and the marching band was playing and the dance team was performing. And it felt so intimate and so welcoming that I knew that this was going to be a place where I could find my people and I could thrive. And ever since then, my roommate and I have lived together now all 3 years. She's my best friend. Just from that first day alone, it all just fell into place for me.
What surprised you about North Central?
What surprised me about North Central? I think what surprised me was how many opportunities there are to grow and succeed. I think professors asking for research assistants or student workers, or there are just so many small opportunities that you can grow into your own and really customize to fit best with your strengths and your skills. And I think I never thought that the opportunities that I had were going to be possible for me until I came here and people started advocating for each other and started passing names around of, oh, do you need someone to work on this? I have just the person for you. And just being able to collaborate at such a personal level and give back to the school and be a part of what the school produces. Like I can proudly say that I feel like I've had a firsthand at really adding things to the college and contributing things. And I just didn't know that was even a possibility. And once I knew that it was, I just knew I had to find my place in it somehow.
Powerful statement.
Yeah. Thank you.
You've been very gracious with your time.
Thank you.
I want to give you an opportunity to say thank you or give a shout out to a person or people who are important to you before we sign off on the inaugural edition of the podcast. Shout outs for Olivia.
I'm glad to have some shout outs. I mean, people know who they are in my life that have been supportive of me. I have to shout out my roommate, Emma Akers, who's just become my sister. We met on for anyone that knows, the E-Res roommate matching portal that North Central has. And we ended up getting along more than anyone I've ever met in my life. My parents have been so supportive. They've been the biggest North Central fans as soon as I started here. And just all the faculty that I've worked with, I really can't thank them enough because they have shaped my experience here. They have been so foundational. And then just to everyone in the OIC office, even all of you guys have just been, you've let me be on a podcast. Like that's so exciting and so fun. You've trusted me enough. It's just been so foundational to my experience. So, yeah.
Olivia, it's been a pleasure to have you on the inaugural edition of the podcast. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing your experiences with us and our audience as we grow a new channel for our outreach to a whole array of people. Thank you so much.
Of course, it's my pleasure to be able to talk about all the things I love about North Central. So thank you for inviting me to be on.
And thank all of you for joining us on the inaugural edition of 1861. Of course, marking the year North Central was founded, and now it's the name of the North Central College podcast. It's been a pleasure. Once again, our appreciation to Olivia Rosenberg, class of 2025. We have it recorded here that she's going to come back to visit, and so we'll hold her accountable to that.
Yes.
Thumbs up from Olivia. That's a wrap on the inaugural edition of 1861, the North Central College podcast. We thank you so much for joining us.